State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability (SFTAS) is a World Bank-assisted program that seeks to promote public sector accountability and reduce corruption. The program was established by the federal government with the concessional World Bank loan to support states to enhance their capacity to achieve the disbursement-linked indicators, which are the program results. It was principally designed to strengthen fiscal management at the state level, so as to ensure effective mobilization and utilization of financial resources to the benefit of their citizens in a transparent, accountable, and sustainable manner, thereby reducing fiscal risks and encouraging a common set of fiscal behaviors. To support the process, the Partnership to Engage, Reform and Learn (PERL) has organized a two-day cross-state learning event on SFTAS reforms among citizens from Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa states. The workshop provided a platform where participants shared experience and lessons on citizens' participation and collaborative engagement in the SFTAS reform program in their respective states.
Sorry, just let me just break it down before you go on, right? So don't worry, I'm sure they can hear me, right? So before the government did this breaking down, right, were citizens involved? Was there anything CSOs did for the breaking down into its municipal so that your colleagues in other states can learn?
Yeah.
In fact, when it comes to issues of administration,
sorry, one house, please.
The governor has the veto power to do all these things. All he did was he liaised with the House of Assembly, which proactively the House of Assembly were supposed to get to we citizens as our representatives. But that didn't happen. But they created it.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
So let's say, for instance, right, there are no municipalities in Kano and Jigawa, right? And if CSOs in this state, right, they want to go for this kind of thing, right, what kind of advice would you give to your colleagues in Jigawa and Kano?
In fact, aside this,
bearing in mind the kind of governors we have.
Yeah, aside this, I was even trying to say that the high-level advocacy should be carried out in Jigawa and see that the SFTAS program don't just stop at the state level. They should go down to local government level as we did it, as we do have. So I think it will be worthy of Jigawa and Kano coming to share experience. Kaduna, the case is. And I will advise them to fall down on bringing up ideas that are very critical and selling it to government at heart. If the government is willing, the governor especially is willing to take up ideas.
That's where the issue is.
Yeah, when you bring up ideas and they are sellable, I think that there's no human being that don't want development, and development is all they are craving for. Their campaign pledges are all based on giving the citizens services that are effective in nature, and if you bring up a holistic plan that will drive citizens' effective service delivery, I think that they will key into. So that is where we can sit down to rub minds to bring up creativity through crowdsourcing and making sure that we buy into. Because this is the electioneering time. Gojo was presenting, he talked about agenda setting. So this is the right time. If you sit down creatively, you set an agenda for them. They have no option because popular votes are what they are craving for. And this is the right time for us to set such agenda. Development closer to the people based on some cannot have access to the governor direct, but those municipalities are within us, like going to live in Kano for Kaduna Park, we that are within the central municipality will be playing an advocacy visit to the administrative, the mayor, who is in charge of the central zone. And so also we want other zones to pay such advocacy to their own mayors, create that synergy working relationship. So I think development have come closer to the people than ever. Like things like feeder roads and other roads within those municipalities are handled by the mayor, not even the state government. So you see, instead of putting your budget on roads construction to state government or direct, you can key it through those municipalities and
Just have a question. What I want to understand is this. This municipality you're talking about, in terms of governance structure, it is beyond local government or below local government administration?
beyond local.
Beyond.
It's above the local
That means
government.
it comprises like 5 or 6 NGOs?
Exactly.
Okay, if that's the case, that means what is the governor doing? I'm just setting an example. For example, in Kano, where we have metropolitan NGOs, there are about 8. And you even have an agency that's called Kano Metropolitan Agency that is responsible for all the development that has to do with the metropolitan, only metropolitan. Maybe the street lights, the road maintenance, the security network, and whatever. Yeah. I get to me. So what's the difference between we that is having the metropolitan agency and the municipality administration?
Like Kaduna is no such agency won't exist. So for us in Kaduna, it became very prominent for the governors through his own idea, not we the citizens. Through his own idea, I think he felt the best way of achieving is urban
Beautification.
What do you call it? Urban renewal. The best way he could handle this is by creating those municipalities that has to do with urbanization. Because if you go, most of the LGAs that are attached to those municipalities are urban. They are urban in nature. So the best way is to have a mayor that will relate directly to the governor on issues of urbanization, and that will be more effective than
it's just implementation.
So I mean,
It's just
I have something to say.
so before the my girls will start,
I don't want to
we'll fight here.
don't start by saying.
We'll fight here. We'll start.
Thank you. I don't know. The functionality. You know, sometimes there's peculiarities and there's previous experience. I know in Jigawa around 2002, we have similar during Samin when Mama with development areas and different community development initiatives, so to say. And we can see, honestly speaking, we didn't get the desired so to say, quote, I stand to be corrected. So during Samin he has about 70-something development areas to ensure that there is even and equitable development of social protection amenities among the development areas. And he wanted to introduce that based on the current experience, it's been crowded, too noisy districts. He wanted to outline other cities scattered across the state. However, the programs doesn't use any positive outcome or results. So I know it will be a very difficult for us to start advocating for having one bad district or what have you, because we have previous experience about. So thank you, Kaduna. Oh, those are which one?
I'm going to go by theoretical knowledge. I think that the creation of those municipal areas, right, was just to improve access. I'm trying to bring it down to what is already going on in Kaduna. So for me, I would say like it probably was a move to improve like community charter. You already have going on, right? So for other states where it was impossible to have governors who are forward thinking like that, right? Maybe what you can think of is, okay, what other mechanism or what other tool can we create, right? With which we can get more information from more citizens that can be fed into public consultations where they would normally not attend.
Thank you very much. Every area, every state has its own terrain, its own nomenclature, and how they operate. Yeah, I believe in Kano, we have something similar, because from what Isa have just said, and from what we have said before, we only operate in only one emirate. But now with the government of country that is organized the state emirate into 5, he now bases major projects based on immigration. Of recent, there are standard hospitals that are up to the level of specialist hospital in all the countries. So the way it's about to finish, which is like, as he said, not to overburden the tertiary hospitals that we have within Kano, so that whoever is coming around those areas or those neighborhoods can easily access healthcare. So for us in Kano, what we provide is that let's see how we can channel our development and our requests and our agendas towards such, since that's how the government wants it, and it's easier also for us to act like that. Also, if possible, we can request the government. Maybe a government can decide to say, okay, let me appoint SFTAS, because they have they wanted to be calling SA, whatever, SSA, whatever, on social emirates. That is all the developments you can generate for that particular emirate, because they like now to be operating like that, so that maybe easier for them to cluster the NGS versus the emirate. Yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you very much.
And I think we shouldn't shy away from one thing, in as much as we are sharing this experience here. Local content matters. We should take peculiarity in our local content. And the master.
Yes. So, let me add, and in Jigawa class, as we see, we started the engagement on agenda setting toward 2023 election, and our platform have 9 thematic areas that were identified, and the citizen needs were captured based on that 9 thematic areas, and now in book form, and we begin to share it with all the aspirants of the governors in the state. And we use another hand in bringing in the Emirate Development Association, EDS, so that each emirate will develop their own peculiar issues. Because if at national state level we were able to identify the need on those 9 thematic areas, and each emirate will use that template of thematic areas. It's only that if you are not interested in team, then you skip it and do otherwise. So these are our attempts. And with respect to revenue generation, the state intended to pilot tax for service to strengthen the revenue generation for the state. We were able, as citizens, to advocate for piloting from at least 5 points. And the 5 points were identified based on the 5 market cities that state government invests in. You know, we have the revenue issue is a little bit, but each emirate that each market that state government invests in, it will have share in collection. So by piloting using the 5 markets that were invested by state, is another tool to boost the state internal general revenue. Because these 2 different, one for the agenda setting and this one for the IGR boosting.
Apart from Kaduna and Kano, and some of us from Jigawa have said something about development issues. Really, we had the story of how Jigawa State was demarcated into development areas and how Kaduna is doing it now. But the problem is, these developments and ideas came from the governors themselves. What we are doing here, what we want to discuss here is how will the CSOs communicate and identify the governors and then put their ideas across so that they can make an impact in the community and the grassroots particularly. This typical example will be to have done a feasibility study, generate data so that you can be able to convince the government this project is pertinent and is very important, particularly for its own political and something like that. This assessment is very, very important for SSO work, because without the data you cannot convince anybody that this particular project is important so that you can be able to do. Like in service delivery, the typical example we gave was the formation of Axel Road for maternal mortality ratio to reduce. It is a very difficult area to calculate the maternal mortality ratio or maternal mortality rate at any particular time without doing your baseline data. You have to do a survey, generate your baseline data, and then put your input, and then later you come and calculate impact or result. Typical example is routine immunization that we have done. Routine immunization impacted on really the children of Jigawa particularly, so that you can have detection in vaccine diseases. But before that, we had feasibility study, we had this assessment. This led to the production or the building of facilities across the wards in Jigawa that they offer to the customer services, and then the routine immunization to be done. So what I would say is really, let us know our data, initial data, and then forecast our impact later on so that we can be able to give it time, 2 to 3 years, so that we can be able to see the generation of the data that will happen, and then you can be able to calculate the impact at the end of 10, 20 years. That's my impact.
No, Hashim is just next to you.
Okay, so question to him.
Okay,
as he landed. I want to ask, thank you for bringing this issue of correlating data with decision making and seeing the results. I don't know whether in Jigawa you still have MPDSI. That's maternal, prenatal, and death surveillance in Jigawa. So to me, we have seen the impact here in Kano because, as you said, the usage of data really transparent. Before, based on the outcome of the result, we identify that sepsis is about 65%. The intervention and decision making now reduce the issue of sepsis. Now, the issue of anemia kidney, also decision making has solved that problem. So I intended to ask whether you still have that committee in Jigawa, and I know it's on the interval of 3 months to go around all facilities to assess the number of maternal deaths, number of prenatal deaths. That's where the ratio will now come out and have the decision toward the reducing maternal mortality in that state. Thank you very much.
Yes, I can refer to one example that we had in Jima, Jigawa State Maternal Mortality Accountability Forum. We had a fact sheet developed for about 3 years so that we can follow yearly development of the responsible link indicators, about 6 of them, including routine immunization, safe service delivery, safe bus delivery index, and others in there, about 6 DLS. And we have more sectors now, we have 8 and we have 6 in saving women lives. So these DLLs were used to generate this fact sheet and then produce the baseline so that I can be able to follow it up yearly. Since we were there in the health service, now I think they are doing it, they are continuing with the primary health care government agency, with sectors and NGOs that we have, they are working on is Islamic Support Assistance, and then GMA also. We're on it, and we're really working to develop those
presentations made by the 3 states. And I have seen the first 2 states, they have some issues in common, that is advocacy. I think we need to be careful as to what we do when we mention advocacy without telling us what is the result, what is the outcome, and why are you making the advocacy, where are you going? Because like in Jigawa, you may see that we don't have much on advocacy because that has been a past event. As far as Jigawa State, civil societies, citizens and the government is concerned, you only go on advocacy on maybe at the community level, that is down there where you wanted to sustain and to carry on with some programs and projects. And the other issue I wanted to talk is on the support given by citizens, like the budget line that was created. Sometimes it's not about the budget line, but accessing the accessing the fund itself is another issue. And you may have a planned activities, and the government may hold you ransom without releasing the needed fund for you to, just like a typical example, when the OGP steering committee met and realized some gaps at certain levels. So we decided to contribute money on our own to address those issues. Unfortunately, when discussing on coming into co-creative activity along with the state actors, they championed, they took up the whole thing. The co-chair of the state actors promised that no, they will fund this and they will make sure that this thing is done within the time frame. We said we all cheered him and for his courage to do that. Unfortunately, a committee was set up under Commissioner of Women Affairs, one of the steering committee members. We sat down over the weekend, prepared everything. That was about how many months now? Almost 4 to 5 months. Up till now, just something of 300,000 naira, nobody is willing to put out that money. We were ready to bring out that money and do whatever that is needed. But unfortunately, on a larger note, on coming to create a program, that is the biggest issue around open government partnership. So I think we need, before we leave this place, I think we need to discuss issues on co-creation as it relates to OGP in both Kano and Kaduna, so that we can have a uniformed approach. Actually, you can see it as such, with some variables or some variations as to the situation, so that, because in as much as we'll be doing OGP, without co-creating things, that means we're just civil society organizations, we're not doing OGP. So I think this is one of the biggest problems across the globe that is even hampering OGP activities in all the OGP practices. Thank you very much.
My concern is going to be told that I don't know Kano and Kaduna. For the sake of inclusion and the concept of leaving one behind, I want to talk around the area of generating citizens' input. Now, part of the strategies without regularities. Just the military inputs for general citizens will not be enough for us. I know in Jigawa it happened that most of the CFOs were working towards budgets in collective general and generating citizen inputs like PNP and others. They do create a specific column for persons with disabilities. And I could quite yesterday there was a kind of taking a charter of demand of data to aspirants, whereby digitally persons with disabilities column is there in order to address our needs. So I don't know whether Kano and Kaduna, how do they generate the input that talks to the rights of persons with disability? Do they give them specification emphasis or just this is my concern?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing that we should also look at, right, as I feel like it's something that is a global subject right now. It's a matter of print your advocacy materials, right? Before you even get to government, start with citizens. Let the people start shouting and doing all of the advocacy before you even start your direct engagement with government, right? And another thing that you would, like I always say that it's very important that we always engage our legislators in our advocacy. Very important, right?
Sorry, can I just, I'm not sure if Gojo will say anything, but just to provide response to what you have said.
Yes.
I don't think I need a microphone because my voice is loud enough. One of the things is in Kaduna, there is pre-budget engagement, which we call the medium-term expenditure framework. Now, there are some citizens group. One of the things they do is they bring down the MTEF for the persons with disability to understand. And then they have a separate session aside bringing them and integrating them with the other accountability mechanism. They had that. Now they led an advocacy to the government that informed the 3 model rehabilitation centers. One in the central, one in the south, and one in the north. So you can see that collective. Now, in terms of budget and other service delivery engagements, when we do engagement within ourselves, and we also have a volunteer that said anytime they are doing anything for those that are visually impaired, we should bring the agenda so that they can use braille machine to ensure that such people are carried along. And when we are also doing it, for those that are deaf, we get an interpreter to ensure that they are carried along. So they are mainstreamed into all the accountability mechanisms.
Just to add to it in Kano, it's like we are having a closed door with their 9 clusters, just to get their input with the different and to know how they engage. And we have 3 SA, SSA, and SSA again. From that cluster, just to have that participation now.
Do you have like a specific child like that? So for instance, we look
at that grassroots. So we consider his leadership at whatever level he or she, then we now invited him to that town hall meeting. So when we have that town hall meeting, they now go back to their grassroots structures and share those information. So what I'm thinking now, even without the intervention of any development partner, still the system will move. That's my thing.
And to add up to this issue, I think like Kaduna National Accountability Mechanism is responsible for the health sector in Kaduna. It has gone beyond just trying to have sustainability, because PERL over time has been telling us time without number that sustainability is important. So we have gone beyond just having a sustainability plan. We are even trying as much as possible now to even access grants somewhere that will be maintaining ourselves. We have our offices there. We have over 50 other civil society that makes up the mechanism. So we tax ourselves. We have our office. we are operating sports checks on our own to generate evidence to inform the health sector. And finally, we are trying to see that what is happening in the education sector in Kaduna, the tracking absenteeism on teachers in classes. We are trying to even see it happen in the health sector, where we will be tracking absenteeism in the health sector, where most of the service personnel are not on ground when
the things we do right now as PERL in Kaduna to support engagement of CS is we allow them to drive initiatives around the local communities. Now they come out with their concept. What is it that you want to do? What we do is they drive the process while we provide technical support. So if PERL is not there tomorrow, they lead that engagement. For instance, we have the co-created accountability mechanism, which is government and citizens. Now, if PERL is not there, they can drive the entire process amongst themselves. The Open Kaduna Health, the Commissioner Health is the co-chair, while Mala Mustafa Jumari is the co-chair citizen. We have the same thing in health, and then local government accountability mechanism, which I feel probably it will be a key learning for some of these, for Kano and Jigawa, is the issue of getting 10 directors at the local government level and 10 civil society groups that cut across women, girls, persons with disability, retirees, teachers, market women, and so on and so forth, to come in and co-create that local process to ensure that they have an accountability mechanism at that local level. They are the ones now that inform local government budgets and so on and so forth. So again, I think that's why we have just left that process to ensure if they come up with an activity, we look at it, where does it fall into our work plan? Then we support and we allow them to lead.
Areas, goals. What mechanisms do we have to coordinate ourselves in such a way that we have a nice engagement approach? We're not just engaging in silence. If PERL is not, we should expect that. We have to share.
Yes.
They have a role.
Okay, so can you share your experience?
Sorry, please. As presented by all of us, we have been engaging on this co-created avenues, whereby you have students, you have government, sitting on the same table, deciding for a sector and what to do and what to aspect. Then the OGP now come and complement and add to what we have been doing. And thank God, all these three states that you're talking about now, the Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa, they have all signed into OGP. And the OGPs are doing well. And the government buying into it. Yes, they're doing well. Yes. No, even in Kano, for example, in Kano, the government did not even sign out.
I have a different report for that.
Don't say.
As a regard to.
Yes. No.
The different report as a regard to.
We are doing well. What are we doing well? Let me tell you.
Achieve as long as you have an evidence to present to it, and at the same time you are transparent in all your submission. So I want to advise other states, maybe if they take the same step, they will be able to solve their problems between their CSOs and then the government. That's the thing I want to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, what we want to do is not even difficult at all. It's basically what we've been discussing since. But now we want to have it down. We want to see what you think. So you can borrow from what you said before. You can do expo, right? Now, if you come to the second page of your agenda, there's one for every facilitator in the group. Please appoint one person to take notes in your group and one person to facilitate. So there are three things that we're looking at. Well, first of all, discussing your experience in engaging with government in the implementation of SFTAS. Let's just discuss what the conversation is, where we are right now. That one is not supposed to take too long. Then the second thing is now look at the strategies. that you can use in strengthening and sustaining the partnerships. Partnerships with government, not just government alone, partnerships with development partners, like the donor organization PERL, then partnerships with other agencies, even OGP secretariats. Are we together? And if you identify any other partnership that you've built in the course of this SFTAS program implementation, please note them down. Then the idea of that second one is to look at a way to sustain the reforms. We are looking at reforms generally. How do you sustain what it is? First of all, let me give you one way of sustaining it. And I think Kaduna State mentioned it, and I know that other states are doing something like it's OGP. One way of sustaining this OGP, maybe through the action plan, right? Carrying some of these commitments and wounding them around the DLIs, that is one way. Then the third one is now look at what are the specific commitments as civil society or activities that you want to carry out, that you want to do, that can ensure that these SFTAS reform do not get abandoned after 2022. You know that they are not getting free money anymore. It has ended. So no state is getting money this year. They've already collected money. So now, because incentives have dried up, there's every possibility that state governments will stop doing all of these things. So how do you sustain the reform? Every idea is valid. There are no stupid suggestions. There are no stupid opinions, please. So let's find a way to organize all of this. So when you have your rapporteur in the document, what the rapporteur will do is that the first one, which is the question, the state of things and all of that, what you discuss, maybe bullet points is fine. Do you understand? Then the second one is the strategies. You can do bullet point strategies of what you want to do, or you can do a column and say, oh, strategies, timeline, and all of that. Anyhow, that is going to be easy for you to type out. Then the third one will be specific commitments that you want to do as civil society to help sustain this reform. Do we understand? Okay, sir. As I promised. Okay. I did promise that. Was that the one promised? Or somebody promised?
With citizens,
That enhancing the capacity of state administrators. Saboda sometimes replacement na state actors ana samun matsala za ka ga a member permanent secretary education ba sa ba ne just the portfolio is a member So you continue continuously in a retirement and so capacity that does not.
Last I would like to help with the capacity of Senate and non-senators.
There is a weak synergy and coordination among SFTAS line MDS, including civil society organizations. Number two, there is non-inclusion of citizens representatives in the composition of SFTAS steering and technical working committees. Number three, no any framework that gives the description on how to utilize the grant secured by the state. Number four, non-existence of monitoring framework for the implementation of SFTAS. The last one, absence of incentives for personnel implementing SFTAS in the state. Our strategies. Number one, there is need to create effective synergy and coordination among SFTAS line MDS, including CSO. Number two, there is need to ensure inclusion of citizens representatives in the composition of SFTAS steering and technical working committees. There is need to establish a framework mechanism that gives description on how the grant secured can be utilized in Kano State or in the state. The next one, there is need to develop a performance indicator to monitor the implementation of SFTAS. Number five, there is need to introduce incentives for the personnel implementing SFTAS in Kano State. Now, commitments in Kano State on SFTAS reforms. In Kano, we have a state steering committee on SFTAS headed by Commissioner of Finance. In Kano, we have what we call a technical committee, which is being handled by SFTAS state vocal person. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. So can you go to the second slide? All right. So again, let's understand one thing, right? Thank you very much for this. SFTAS has already basically wound down in a way, although there's an extension till June next year, and that one is only for technical assistance to states. So Jigawa, I'm even expecting Jigawa State to call us on participation for the citizens budget. You people should call us. So I'm saying it. Kano, is Kano here? Talk to them. Kano, Kaduna, there is technical assistance from OGP Secretariat. I know that Organizer knows many of these things, but their CSOs should require. Tell state government, I will tell them tomorrow. Don't let me deviate. It's there already. Your synergy and all of that. I like it. Hello, I like it, right? On SFTAS time. But beyond SFTAS, it's very important that we are talking about sustaining the reforms, which means beyond SFTAS, which takes me to number 2. That inclusion of citizens representative in the composition of SFTAS steering committee is something that was developed from the start. It's not going to change now, and SFTAS is over. Do we understand what I'm saying? Yes. So we need to look at what we can do to sustain something else. So instead of this inclusion, you might say you want to do like maybe a SFTAS sustained reform group or something. I'm just giving an example. Do we understand? Or you want to incorporate some of those things in your accountability mechanisms. CSO coalition. Are we together? Yeah. It's the other one on framework mechanism that gives description on how to utilize. You can't do that anymore. Are we together? This cannot happen anymore. We are looking at sustaining now. Sustaining the gains. That's what we are looking at. We are not looking at what we can change in SFTAS. Develop performance indicator to monitor the implementation of SFTAS. Instead of implementation of SFTAS, you can say that you want to be monitoring the continuation of the outputs from SFTAS and CSOs. We can start saying that we want to start monitoring if it's done. Are we together? Introduce incentives for personnel implementing SFTAS in the state. Well, this one, there is incentive but not in financial terms for personnel implementing SFTAS at MDA level. Trainings and all of that, it's there in their what do you call it? In the manual. That's the reason why you have technical assistance being given to them. So now, we might say we want to look at incentives like state government, if they agree, what are the incentives that people who are doing those documents going forward, what are some of the incentives that they will have? Do you understand what I'm saying now? So let's think beyond SFTAS. That's the point of this question. And then the last one, this one, commitment on SFTAS reform. We are talking about what are the commitments, what do you want to do? Sustain. Do you understand that? What are the commitments from your end that you want to do? As CSOs, we want to see how we can bring CBOs from the 44 local governments in Kano. We are bringing 3 women, 3 men, we are bringing persons living with disabilities, and we are training them over the next 6 months on everything in the SFTAS program. That's a commitment. Are we together? Yeah. Are we together? That's what we want to see.
But so you know that you are giving answers to that.
So can we have Jigawa, please? Jigawa. So please let's start with them.
There are often no policies across the MDS in the states. There are formation of technical working groups, accountability forums, and working groups around thematic areas between citizens and governments, recognition of skills and capacity of CSOs by government officials toward achieving SFTAS requirements, and alteration of institutional memories in major drivers of attrition of institutional memory major drivers of SFTAS in the MDS of the state. This is negative engagement, negative experience, and partial engagement with SFTAS DLI by CS. This too is negative experience. Improvement of procurement processes is positive, and access to PFM document for citizens is positive experience. Improved fiscal space on citizen-driven projects such as constituency projects, improved funding for FMNCS and other infrastructure facilities. This is our experiences.
Thank you.
Yes. Then the strategies. Alignment of SFTAS DLI with relevant citizen thematic groups. Yes. For sustainability, and enhance the capacity of states and non-state actors.
In what?
relating to monitoring and the implementation based on the requirement of PFM. Yes. Monitoring the implementation based on SFTAS work plan. Already SFTAS have its own work plan. Let be monitored according to what SFTAS required, even if there is no SFTAS. Ensure all relevant MDS involved implementing and promoting PFM activities, including relevant CS activities, and adopt all currently established international and national frameworks, conduct annual assessment of PFM core group, promote capacity building medium and intermediate cadre for an establishment of local government fiscal and accountability frameworks. Then, specific commitments. Review of OGP State Action Plan. Develop a training guide for non-state actors and on SFTAS. Because even if there is no SFTAS, if you know how SFTAS happen, you will be able to make sure that everything is going according to SFTAS requirements. Capacity building for non-state actors.
One house, please. Hello, sorry. So we can. All right.
Capacity building for non-state actors. Advocate for the conduct of public financial management. Monitor the adoption.
So what's our
rapid assessment?
Please, let's write it. Okay.
Yeah, so fix it.
All right.
Monitor the adoption of international and national framework in SFTAS.
Okay.
And advocate for the establishment of local government fiscal transparency, accountability, and sustainability program.
All right, please, let's give them a round of applause.
We target this for the last quarter.
So one thing is set in here. Jigawa people like English. You like English.
Because we are English.
So they think that what I would like for you to do in this is that some things are actually not clear. So if you can go, for instance, let's go. Conduct annual assessment of PFM core group. Are you assessing the PFM core group, or the PFM core group are the ones conducting assessment?
There is need for the PFM core group to be assessed to make sure that that instinct memory is there.
The PFM itself.
Yes. Because the PFM core group includes both state and non-state actors.
Okay. Enhance the capacity of state and non-state actors. You need to be clear in what particular area. Do we understand? Yeah.
Which one?
Number 2. Enhance the capacity of state and non-state actors, because it's not what I'm saying. You need to edit it. No, I'm not. I get the point. What I'm saying is expand it on this slide. Because what we are going to do, everyone is going to do is at least somebody is going. We are going to go back to your slide and expand the information and then share with us. Now, monitoring the implementation based on SFTAS work. Yes, monitoring is fine, which all of you have been doing. But beyond SFTAS right now, what is the other thing that you're thinking? Are we together? Yes. You monitor, but what SFTAS is over? What do you do? Promote capacity building medium and intermediary radar. I don't understand this.
We were saying that the loss of that institutional memory.
Yes.
There is this transition in civil
yes.
service, whereby if you retire today, the next person that will follow you don't know what you have done. Therefore, there is need to make it.
So this particular thing does not align with what you said just now. Your explanation now, I get it. You're talking about institutional memory. For instance, now, there can be something called the standard operating procedure, SOP, right? KKJ can decide that they want to have an SOP. SOP will now be based on this SFTAS. So what you do is that, okay, if you are in this ministry of budget, you are supposed to produce a citizen's budget. You do it at XYZ. This is who does it in this capacity. These are the partners that you can speak to. There's a material already, there's a tool that you can use. That SOP is developed And when you develop that SOP, anybody who comes carries that SOP and says, okay, these are the things that we expected to do. Do you understand what I'm saying now? That promotes institutional memory or ensures that whoever is coming has that memory. So when they now bring another PS, it is based on that SOP they can even draft when they do, you know, they do memo now, like when they are getting that PS. And put that information that, oh, there's an SOP for Ministry of Budget or all this that they are working together. PFN group now and the thematic groups will now be the ones now pushing that we already have an SOP and we are the ones working on it that we can use. So that speaks more to what you just said right now, that promotes capacity building, because this is capacity building already. Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? Yes. So we can reward this particular part. Establishment of local government fiscal transfers and all of that is a very good idea. You're talking about SFTAS, right? Just as it's a good idea. So I like that particular one. Adopt all currently established international and national frameworks in what? Like put information there, like you're speaking to somebody who doesn't know what you're talking about. Do you understand? So thank you very much. Sorry, first slide.
I think he has addressed one of my questions, but for the first slide, we said discuss your experience in engaging with government in implementing SFTAS, and what I see here are all positive things. Are you saying there is no challenge? So they have issues with institutional memory. In terms of whoever is doing something before they get there, somebody else is there. Because the reason why I'm saying this, because if we are identifying most of the challenges we are having, we are going to be doing it's an opportunity to discuss. So let's talk more about the challenges so that we see how we can improve our
Yes, so for Kaduna, our experience has been, we just woke up one day and heard that Kaduna is implementing SFTAS. The majority of the civil society were unaware of what it was and what government was doing in that direction. And again, another thing that shocked the civil society is that despite the OGP commitment, there was no civil society representation from either the steering committee or the technical working group. And also, even on the part of government, there was very little information about the implementation. And that is what necessitated that we carried out an advocacy to the Planning and Budget Commission, requesting that the lifters' information should be stepped down to civil society for us to understand, because at that time we knew that there were monies attached to it, and if we were talking about open government partnership, we wanted to know what SFTAS was about and all of that. Thankfully, the Planning and Budget Commission agreed, and there was a one-day sensitization where they came and made a presentation and also informed us of where Kaduna was as of that time. So that was our first major encounter with SFTAS. Then second, the next is because also we're doing a lot around open budget and open contracting, it became very easier for the civil society to align with the LI2 and the LI6, which had to do...
So which one are you speaking to here now? Which bullet point are you speaking to?
The fifth one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Citizens group of large entities. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it's 2 and 6.
2 and 6. Okay.
Yeah, open contract. So already it was easy for citizens to engage around that level. Then also we got an invitation from OGP National and PERL, where we were also trained on how to develop the Citizens Accountability report. And upon going back to Kaduna, we worked together with the government partners that attended to develop the first report, and also the government allowed we, the citizens partners, to drive the town hall meeting that was held for that engagement. I also did not put it there, but even if we want to expand that platform so that by the time it is for the citizens' budget version, we can do the overview of the budget, then look at sectors, because we're already doing that of sectors. So while we do the one that government does for overall budget, we will now look at priority sectors and also develop, attach it to that. Then, in terms of the citizens' accountability reports. So because some of these reports are now publicly available, so and we, by virtue of the training we've gotten, we believe that we don't have to wait for government to summarize these documents for citizens to use and engage in that level. Then, in terms of the citizens' input document, that is what we are already doing with the citizensdemand.org, which provides evidence of this is the number of project citizens nominated, this is the number that government actually captured in the budget, and all of that. Then we also believe that some of these reforms need to be made into law for sustainability. And we have a number of laws that are undergoing amendment, like the fiscal responsibility law. So we believe that there are key areas in here, like 2, for example, that should be made law. So the same with the SFTAS. We want to push for that with the state House of Assembly. Then lastly, because it's an election year, and like I said, we already have a platform for that too, we want to ensure that we get most of these candidates to sign in to these reforms as a social contract. So, and that is what we'll put on the website, so that for every candidate that signs, it will be there as evidence that he has agreed to these reforms. And thankfully for the fact that we are not doing well as a country financially, so most of them will be seeking loans. And therefore it means that most loans come with these requirements of transparency, accountability, and all of that. So we feel that we need to sign social contracts with all of them as we go. So thank you very much.
So this is something that even at the World Bank level we thought about in terms of what can we do in terms of sustaining. It aligns away with that SOP that I mentioned earlier. And this leveraging on existence, I like that you mentioned this because the media is very important. I did say something here that I expect that media would have been here. And the media was actually planned to be here, but I didn't see any media. One is not. See another one here, with different color. Okay. But I was mentioning earlier in the media. They ran away. Oh wow. Okay. Who said we ran away? I didn't see when I was asking. Okay, no wahala. We need more media persons in terms of engagement. PERL cannot do everything. Let's understand that. So CSOs, we also need to take up that role. What's the other thing? Thank you for that. State reform champions. It ties to the incentives that you talked about. When you appreciate people, those who are doing the work, they tend to want to do more. Right? Then I also, next time, I also have to mention one thing quick. I like the enthusiasm and the this one that you put here. It's a fantastic one. However, we are dealing with government. When we develop, the citizen accountability report is based on the audit report. And if you as CSOs go ahead to develop the citizen accountability report without working with government, and for some reason you publish it and become a problem. Let me put it this way. They will, all these reports normally causes wahala. Basically, this citizen accountability report was the reason why one of the reasons why the auditor in Kwara State does this job. If you publish it and you don't work with government to say, oh, we can do it for you, right? But just make sure that you are involved in it. They can tell you that they don't know about it. And you are trying to, they can turn it into one political statement. So please, when we are trying to do it, it's very good that we can take charge. You have the tools, you have everything.
Go ahead with this idea. But the only thing is that please bring the government into that conversation. Let them know what you are doing and let them dive into it. That is also the point of the co-creation, the sustainability aspect. If civil society are the ones doing it every single time, then there is going to be no sustainability. The idea is to build the capacity of CSOs and also have the capacity of MDAs built that they can handle it. But if they can't handle some aspects, CSOs will come in. But if you have CSOs handling everything every single time, then there will be no sustainability or capacity. Do we understand?
And the learnings across Kaduna, Kano, and Jigawa states. Yes, sometimes we will think we are not doing very well. There are areas we are doing well. There are areas others are equally doing well. And we need to leverage on these potentials to ensure that successes are here. And what we look at clearly again is service delivery to citizens at the community level. Somebody mentioned that she was part of Open Kaduna. Are you now saying that you are coming back home? We look forward to welcoming you. Thank you very much, and I thank all my colleagues for facilitating. I thank Abayomi and the OGP team and every one of us that participated in this engagement today. Thank you so very much. And you and yourself, thank you.
Where's the mic? Please work on the corrections in the presentation and please share. We would like to collect everything by tomorrow morning. So you send it to